And a one, and a two, and a one, two, three. Here we go. We're just fooling around here because if you don't fool around, have you heard of Miraculous Mineral Supplement? Yes, I've heard of that, and I've used it. It's quite good. Yep. Having fun with the video. Yep. 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 Uh, so today's evenings, I've been thinking and praying today. And I've realized, yes, I'm your Sensei Al Bob, and what is the job of the sensei? Is it to teach? Is it to crack open your minds? Is it any of the above? And it's what I am is the pebble in the pond. And you, my adepts, are the tsunami. So you look around, and there are all these tribes, tribal, screaming this, screaming that. Love conquers all. You got it, guys. Right? And it first comes with us loving ourselves, and it first comes with forgiving ourselves, and that is the process of to, in every day and every way, take the piece of the earth and make it stronger through the process of love's co-creation. That means everything we do in co-creation with love. And when we create in that fashion, we're creating something that's real. And when we create outside of that mechanism, it's, as Saint Germain would say, you cannot create anything of truth without love. All things that are created through ego is illusion, separation, That's what happened when we left the Garden of Eden. It was through ego's separation. And all that we have experienced since then is an illusion, a lie. And in our politics, our body politics has been one gigantic lie because it's based on an assumption that there's not enough for everybody. There's plenty. Everyone should be fed, taken care of, given the opportunity to step up to their higher self. So, tonight's little evening is going to be one. So, I've shown you how to breathe that 20% and exhale that 30%. To quiet your conscious mind, get rid of the illusion of the little squirrel in there going on, I gotta do this, gotta do that, how am I gonna pay my bills? No, that's like, all you gotta do is breathe 20%. Breathe out to 30, releasing all the toxins from your body. Community is the key. The eco village, the eco village is the village of like minds, open hearts, with, truth as our major tool, and love as our only equity. 30% in. 20% out. No, it's the other way around. 20% in and 30% out. Because the out, you want to get rid of all of those toxins. And 20% in, it's a lot easier to breathe that 20% in if you breathe the 30% out. So, and then you illuminate yourself with the breath from the prana that you're breathing in, the life force of love's co-creation, and you're breathing out the toxins, right? And you're taking in the prana, and you're energizing every cell through that breath, and you are basically energizing yourself. And then you take that energy, you illuminate your imaginary mirror. That's right behind your eyelids where you have REM sleep. And you take that light, you project it into your subconscious, not a scary place, but your library of your Akashic record. And you see everything that you've ever done, right? And when you see that, you realize that your life is not a scary monster. It's simply your soul's attempt to travel forward to ascend into a higher plane of existence, where you're not set in the mud puppet of your lower chakras, right? And that's what the alchemy is, where you're changing the trace elements in your bag of water into gold. And what is that gold? Your gold is your higher self. It's not, coins, right? So that's what the alchemists were doing. They were trying to ascend, right? And the Catholic Church and all the power structures at hand were there to try and, if you were even thinking of that, you were, a witch or something, and you were going to be burned or drawn, cornered, and etc. And then you had all these different players. There were all these folks on from different dimensional layers coming in and screwing with the human race. The Anunnaki that came and turned us into slaves, and different groups did different things. You just have to go back to the Egyptian and the Sumerian and the every ancient crew and see what they did. And you look at the artifacts that are left. I mean, today we couldn't make pyramids. How do we think we are superior? In India, there are deserts that have the same kind of green glass. It's called Trinity glass, meaning when we detonated our first nuclear device in the deserts southwest, that sand was turned into glass, green, somewhat radioactive, and they find it all over Asia, where warring factions of the Anunnaki were nuking each other, right? So we find ourselves. You go, what, huh? you know, what's going on? And what should be important? And should I back Donald Trump or Q or the left and LGBTQ2 or Me Too or no, these are all distractions. The bottom line about anything as a human being, if it doesn't feel right in your heart, you shouldn't do it. You should never view anyone as the other. We are all our brothers and sisters. We are all just be you, exactamundo. You don't have to, go working out or lose. Your body. I'm a good poster boy for the moron mud puppet. I have been given the gifts of insight and been put in amazing spaces my whole life. But sure, I dove into that swimming pool of chocolate mousse and gained 270 pounds and lived the corporate life and died. But I can't seem to die. I keep coming. I go to the other side and they say, "Hey, welcome home. Good to see you." But you're not done, and you got to go back, and you much would rather complete this mission. You don't want to have to go back in another body and do it all over again. No, no. You were sent here to ascend. Just keep at it, kid. You're doing a great job. Hey, it's not over yet. Don't worry. And hey, it's always been interesting, hasn't it? So, I'm here not so much to tell you what to do or to, make you into something that you're not. I'm here to assist, to, again, to show by example and to assist. And all of those things like building a community or taking it on the road or any of the above. I want to do those things. A, because they're fun. B, they will serve a higher cause more than just the nuttiness, the fruitcake world that we're in. And people, I'm getting this. I have this empathetic side of me, which we all have, but I'm highly tuned. I feel all of these things, and it can, when I feel someone's pain, it hurts. When I feel someone's weariness, it hurts. All the above, and that sensitivity is just to be, hey, look at this. You know, the mirror, the bellwether, the assistant, and that's all I am. And that's what a sensei is, a teacher. And in the essence of teacher, I'm not teaching you anything. What I'm doing is assisting you to take the veil away from your eyes. So, showing you how to get into your Akashic record. You've seen your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel, right? You've seen the open doorway into the your superconscious mind, your sanctuary of your own choosing, right? It's an open door. There is no door. There's just a doorway. You go through it, go up the stairs, go over the bridge. You're id to your superconscious mind, and you've had that experience. And every day you should be practicing that because the more you do this, the better you get at it, right? So then last night we went to Fairyland, right? And a lot of you kind of, ooh, that was amazing. But it was you doing it. I was just assisting, helping you see it, right? So, next thing we're going to do, you've heard of remote viewing, right? Well, I'm going to assist you guys to remote view. And, lots of different intelligence agencies and facilities, you know, have remote viewing. The CIA, Navy, the Air Force, China, Russia, Germany. There are a lot of folks remote viewing corporations, and they do it in a corporate kind of way because all these things are corporate entities. And basically, they do it in a way that the person who's remote viewing doesn't even know what they're really looking at. They're given a site, a target, and it's very, it's in an envelope. They don't know, they're not assigned, and then they're just there and they see it and they report, and the handler kind of navigates them to the place and thing that they want to see. Well, what I'm going to show you tonight is how to remote view consciously, and you're going there because it's your doorway. It's the place you're going, right? So, the thing that last night, how you got into the door, the second door of Fairyland, is the old crone came out of the fireplace, right? And took you by the arm and walked you, she put her hand up on the door, boom, the door was gone. You both walked through the doorway and you went into Fairyland and you experienced what you experienced last night. So tonight we're going to do the same. But let's see, what's people saying there? Ghost, hey there, Ghost. Twitchy, having fun. Esoteric Dragon. Yep. About building a community. All for community, right? I'm up for it. I've been doing it. So on that level, I'm your guy, right? Government just issued a warning stating we should prep for about 6 months. A little strange. Well, they're going through, preparing for another. I mean, we're in one red flag after another, and you go on. Before I start any of these chats, I kind of look at the things that people have dropped on my inbox, and I kind of have different things that I kind of take a look at and see who's saying what. And again, all of this stuff, Red Rice Radio, um, you know, what's his name? All of that, right? The right, the left, whatever, of the alternative media. It's all very interesting stuff, all very limited by the ego that is produced by it. Oh, okay. Fantastic beats. Beats? Beasts? So a lot. But tonight, I would like to show you how to remote view. So, gang, are you up for that? You want to do that? I showed you Fairyland last night. Are you interested? This is a consensus group here. You kind of have to say yay or nay. I can't just grab you guys by the ear. You have to want to do this. And so, of course, okay. So there's your spokesman there. It's G. It's G. Convince me. Okay, of course. Okay. Okay. Okay, so here we are. At 2020, I will start this, right? This has been just a little preparation here. Yep, go do whatever you guys have to do. Get yourself in a place where you won't be distracted by your body, and I'll give it a little more. I'll just kind of go on about things. So I'll talk about how we're going. So last night, you know, seeing I saw all of your experiences in going to the deep fairyland, and that I could see that you guys didn't expect that, and you had it, and it was like, yeah, yep, no problem, Twitchy. I won't start until everybody's kind of ready. Anyway, so remote viewing is the ability to go to a place and get information, right? So the place that we're going to go tonight, this afternoon, whatever time span that's what I love about this, is that we are not so non-linear when we do these things. It's what it really is. That's why we're doing this, because this is something outside. No one else is quite doing this. You know. It is, but astral projection is kind of you go into lots of different planes. The plane we're going into in this process, in this doorway, is you, because in my thoughts of today, preparing for this, is that it's not me helping you. It's not some political movement helping you. It's not that. No, it's like you have to go inside of you. So we're going to remote view into you, so you can see who you are. Yes, your Akashic record gives you a almost blow by blow of your soul's experience, but still, it's very textural oriented. You'll see it like on that screen. Yes, you got your animal totem, you got your librarian bring you whatever information, you got your guardian angel watching your back. But this is going to, go into a plane where you can. It's very similar to when you die and you have your life shown to you, and it's shown to you by the reflection of all the people you've touched, the ones you've hurt, the ones you've helped, everything you've done. And so it gives you a really, and that's the contextual point of view, the meaning of your life. Meaning of your life is not, what kind of job you had, how much money you made, whether you had a real fancy car and a big house and a, whatever. No, it's not the stuff. It's the emotional dynamic. So, prepping the breathing. Yep. So, I think we're all ready. We all ready? Everybody here? Yep. So, I'm going to start off with just a little prayer. And the strongest, most protective prayer that can be used by any cultural group is the Our Father. The one I use is, basically a Christian motif, but it in a generic form is a shamanic tuning of protection. So that's why I use it. It's the one that just is right there for me, right? And when I say it, everyone in the sound of my voice gets that protection. So, okay, I think we're all ready. It's 23:53. I think at 23, 24, at 24:24 we'll start. So everyone kind of get in a relaxed place. You're sitting in a chair. Don't cross anything. Uncross your legs and cross your arms. Put your hands on your legs like that or like that. Don't cross anything else. And here we go. 24:20. Take that big breath in. 24:24. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, as it was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be, world without amen. And every day and every way we take the peace of the earth and make it stronger through love's co-creation with the Father and the Mother. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now at the hour of death. Amen. And you're breathing in at 20% and out 30%. You are cleansing your body with your breath. You're breathing in that prana, that life-giving force, to your avatar. And you are seeing in your imaginary mirror, illumination. You see the prana going into your lungs. You see it energizing as it, it is transmitted into your blood. As the blood comes from your heart through your lungs, goes through a little aorta, the blood picks up the prana, and as it swirls through your veins and arteries and capillaries against the wall of your veins, capillaries, and arteries, it swirls clockwise. Inside that swirl, it's swirling counterclockwise, and inside that, it's swirling clockwise. And what is that doing? But creating a alternating current generator. You are producing a tremendous amount of current in your body. And you see every cell of your body being refreshed, rejuvenated, cleansed, is taking, the blood is, as it puts that energy into the mitochondria of your cell, it is taking away the waste products of your cell, and you're breathing it out 30%. And your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. It is a quieting down the the gerbil, the squirrel, the mad monkey in your skull. You're no longer thinking about the useless things that you normally think, right? Your mind is totally focused on your breath. You're safe, secure. All I have to do is snap my fingers and you'll be right back in your avatar, but right now you're letting go. And you're in your imaginary mirror and you are illuminating it and you're cleansing your body and your your mind is totally focused on your breath. You're relaxed and you're taking that light and you are focusing it into your subconscious mind, which is not the scary place of monsters. It's simply a library of your Akashic records. See it clearly. And you're walking into your subconscious, into your library, and to your left is your librarian. See your librarian clearly. Remember what your librarian looks like. To the left of your librarian is your animal totem. Your animal totem's there to assist you as a griot with whatever information you get from your Akashic record or your librarian. You may not understand it, may not be able to contextually put it into reference, but your animal totem will tell you a story that puts it into reference. Like, oh, that's what that means. Oh, okay. And to the left of your animal totem is your guardian angel. See what your guardian angel looks like. See it clearly. Guardian angel always has your back. You have skated some pretty amazing, dangerous situations only because your guardian angel is there to take care of you. Know and realize and internalize the fact that you got somebody watching your back. And your animal totem, see your animal totem clearly, what it looks like, what animal it represents, see it clearly. And your librarian, see your librarian clearly. So you sit down at your reading table. You have this really nice reading table. There's a light coming from above, and you're sitting down in your reading chair, and it's very comfortable. It supports you in all the places it should. You feel very comfortable, and you're not tired from sitting there. You feel fine. And in front of you is a large fireplace, right? And all those big stones in the fireplace are actually Akashic records, right? And the big flame in the fireplace, in that hearth of Akashic records, is the eternal flame. See it clearly. And that is the energetics that powers everything, right? That is love's co-creation that you're seeing in front of you in that flame. And now stare into that flame. See that blue, white, gold of the eternal flame. See it clearly. Put your focus on it continuously. You see it vibrating. You see it spinning around like a mini little vortex, a kind of wormhole. You see it forming. And then there's a big puff of smoke like it came down the chimney, like Santa Claus, and poof, out comes Santa. That's something you can all relate to. You've seen that picture. That jolly old guy with the white beard in a red suit, and a bowl full of jelly, and his little cherry nose. Yeah, you can see Santa. So, Saint Nick, right? And that image is from yourself, right? And so Santa comes over to you. Ho, 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 ho. Have you been a good little boy, a good little girl? Ho, 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 ho. And you get up from your chair and you open your Akashic record and you put your hands on the two pages and you put in your Akashic record all the anxiety, all the anger, all the fear, all the angst of your life's experience, and you put it in there, and then you close the boom, and now all of that weight all of fear, anger, and hate of the illusion that has been pressed upon you is gone. You feel lighter, you feel like a feather. And this will allow you, as it did last night, to go places where in your heavier self you wouldn't be able to go. This also gives you a feeling, a sense of what you are when you raise your harmonic up through your chakras. And you are not, at this moment, existing in your lower chakras. You're existing right at this minute in your heart chakra. Right? You're vibrating at that level of love, and so you are vibrating in that level of love. And Santa takes you by the arm, puts his arm in your arm, and you walk over to the third door, and Santa puts his hand on that door, and it disappears, and you walk through. And you are now remote viewing into who you are, and you are feeling who you are. You're experiencing that experience of death, past whatever event horizon of car crash, heart attack, gunshot wound, whatever, to that point where you get past that, where you no longer are fearful of death, right? You are vibrating in love's higher chakra, and you're with Santa, the saint of love, you know? And so you're inside that experience, right? They say, oh, go to the light. Well, the light's right in front of you, and look past that light into what it is, right? And see that the tunnel that you go through has a bunch of little holes in it. And those little holes are dimensional wormholes, right? And once you become an ascended master, you travel the universe through this wormhole apparatus. And it takes you, it was created by the elders who are no longer here. They're someplace else, but they've ascended. They've gone past being ascended masters. And you are just vibrating in love in your heart. And you are experiencing this unbelievable sensation of love. Feel it now. And you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You're no longer in your body, in your avatar. You're no longer in this spatial dimension. You have illuminated yourself in your imaginary mirror and taken yourself into your subconscious mind, your Akashic record, and you have downloaded all your anxiety, fear, anger, and hate, and visualized through the flame, the eternal flame, an avatar that will take you into who you are. You will see that essence of this life, of who you are, why you're here, the reasons for everything, all of the real questions that you may have had about existence, your life. Why is this that way, and why is that way, and why is this so hard, and why is, see the true blessing that your life is. Like in that movie, It's a Wonderful Life. See what it would be like if you weren't around, See how you positively affect everyone around you. See how you are that pebble in the pond creating the tsunami of love. See it clearly. And you're having that experience of the death experience. You're not experiencing the pain or the fear or the anxiousness, and you're seeing that, as Plato said, Buddha said, and Vishnu said, and other great avatars / prophets said, death is no big deal. It's like slipping out of a tight slipper. So you really see that. You understand that. And you realize there's nothing to fear about death. See that clearly. And you're having this experience. You are. I'm not making you have it. You're having this. You went through the door, right? You went with Santa Claus. See it clearly. And you are right at the event horizon. And people are talking, oh, we're at the event horizon. There's a synchronistic moment, and I've been talking about the window of 40 days and 40 nights, right? But life is an eternal synchronicity, right? So when you understand this, you can have all the synchronicity. You'll be aware of all the synchronicities. I mean, that's what keeps you alive. That's what is the process of your soul, these synchronicities. See it clearly. And so I want you to step across that event horizon. You'll have to do it. I can't make you do it. You do it. And on the other side, you're going to have an experience that is an experience that you will have. So I can't really guide you through it or tell you about it or give you any high points or PowerPoint or clip notes. You have to do this yourself, right? Now you have my total love with you. You have Santa's total love with you, and you're stepping through the event horizon. I'm going to be quiet now, and you're going to have the experience. And two, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. My voice is coming to you through the event horizon. I'm reminding you that you're safe and secure. No matter what you see, it's there as a reflection of your love in co-creation with love. Whatever you're seeing is a vehicle for you to understand why you're here. See it clearly. And two, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your body and your conscious mind are totally focused on your breath. You're no longer consciously in your body. It is taking care of itself. It's being cared for in the most loving way. It's being healed and energized. But you've illuminated yourself in your imaginary mirror and gone into your Akashic record. And you have downloaded all your anxiety, fear, hate, and anger. And you have lightened yourself so you are able to ascend into your heart chakra. This is your natural place at this moment. by doing that, you were able to leave all that was physical and go through the event horizon of your death. And you are on that other side, and you hear my voice. I'm at the doorway, speaking into and through the event horizon. And you're safe and secure, and you have experienced things beyond your understanding. But because you're in your higher dimension, your fifth dimension of your heart chakra, you're understanding this. Whenever you experience a spiritual vision, you're in your heart chakra. And that's where you're now, and that's what you're doing. You're having a spiritual experience. And Terence McKenna talks about it, and certain psychotropics can feign this experience. But when you do it organically, like you have just done it, you can re-experience this at any time you want. Once you've gone through that door, you can bring Santa out of the fireplace and have Santa as your guide into and through that event horizon of death. Well, any substance that you can take will, again, artificially create a cardboard cutout of this experience. Why would you want a cardboard cutout when you can experience it yourself? And basically, you are taking the psychotropics your brain creates and having this experience. You don't need to have to go get something. Yep, you don't need it. But it can be helpful, yes. All those things can be put in the correct juxtaposition, I mean, everything can be used as a tool, but you have this tool of your breath. It's a lot cheaper, a lot easier. It's not, on a Schedule 3, but, using anything is fine, as long as you use it in the context of love's co-creation. Do that, whatever you do is fine. So we're kind of in this interesting little plane where we can communicate, but you're still kind of on that other side there. So how you guys doing? See, I mean, this is when you use yourself, when you are the guide, when you are the tool. I mean, that's why you came to be incarnated in your bag of water. And that's why I do this, to give you guys a tool that you can go use. And I suggest that you go through the chats and pick out whatever you want and put it on your own hard drive, your own thumb drive, your own CD-ROM, whatever means to, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And, the powers that shouldn't be, they seem to be supportive of this, which is fine, and I know why they're doing it, and I'm happy because we're here to, help. We're here to help them help themselves to help the rest of us, right? I don't, need to be the powers that shouldn't be or the powers that should be. I don't need that, I'm your Sensei Al Bob, that's what I'm here, you know. And so, what did Santa look like for you guys? Where's Santa's, and what did Santa feel like for you guys? And what did it feel like to go through that event horizon into death? And what did you see about yourself? That sounds great, Dragon. That's why I love you guys. You are amazing adepts. You are, what makes a good sensei? Not me, you guys. Ooh, very nice. I like that. Transformation, see? Yep. Yep, we've been there many times. Yep. The more you do this process of breathing and clearing yourself and illuminating your imaginary mirror and quieting, the squirrel in your head and going into your library, the more you do that, the more adept you will get at this, the more you'll get out of this. And what's really amazing, once you kind of get where you can just bang, you're there, right? And so as you go through your day to day at work, at life, at this, at that, whenever something comes up that's, trying, testing, uncomfortable, or blissful, you can go into that state and really experience it 100% because you now have three doorways to go through to really understand the experience. So you get the most out of the experience, and you can spend months in state and come back, and it's only been a second on the linear moment. When I worked in the corporate world, when I was so good as a negotiator, I would just, while people were screaming at each other, I would just kind of sit back, close my eyes, bingo, go into state, see everyone's aura, their energetics, what was really going on. When I'd come back, I'd been in state for, I don't know, a few hours, a day or two, I figured it all out, came back and was able to just, okay, what do you think of this? And what about that? And why are you doing this? And people would be like stunned. And I could negotiate anything. And in those Star Wars movies, the Jedi, I mean, they were mostly negotiators, and they use their Jedi skills and Force to understand, right? And their problem is they, could, their egos could get away with them, and that's what happened to Darth Vader. This little ego got up ahead of him because he wasn't serving. What's that force? What is the force? Force is love's co-creation. And when we stop serving that, that's when we get into problems. When we think we're better, we're cool, we're this, we're that, that's when we get into problems. And that's why the world is in the problem it is, because they are serving an illusion, right? And the illusion has been hacked by many forces that are in the, so their technologies whoop-de-doo, and they're this, one man's magic is another man's technology. And all of those distractions are irrelevant. Those folk, the reptiles, the insects, you name it, their problem is they don't have a soul. So they don't have a Venus nerve, so they have no empathy. They don't understand what love is. So they can't create. And they're just constantly creating problems from themselves and deeper and deeper illusions, right? And they're scary and scary monsters. But all you gotta you bump into any of these guys, all you gotta do is say the Lord's Prayer, and you're protected. All you have to do is visualize your guardian angel. You're protected. Again, if you were to get abducted tonight, just don't be in fear and ask them questions. They can't handle that. When you take over the reins and say, "So why are you doing this? Why are you here? What do you want? What's going on?" And if you want to say, "So what's free energy? How do I have anti gravitational field? What do I need to do to feed everyone?" Deep fried ice cream. Ooh, buddy. Buddy, I saw your little your context on J Box's channel. I thought that was fun. Yes, the venous nerve. That's it, bud. That's the connective nerve to all those glands, like the hypothalamus and those three glands that are up here, that are basically the radio to our soul. Boop, boop, boo. Trust me once they catch me, they had regress. Yes, you're like Tweety Bird. They don't know me too well, do they? And humor is the best tool for almost everything. No, really, everything. Are Ewoks like Oompa Loomps? We ate them all. Were they tasty? H1 equals H2. Receptor. Yep. She is the most adept in these meditative practices. Not really. You can't break it down to any racial or cultural group. What kind of defines that, you know, adept and their level of processing is their intent. Everything deals with intent. Good thoughts, good words, good actions, good outcomes. It's the intent. Okay. They seemed a bit fuzzy for them to be tasty. And it's kind of hard to, I worked on a couple of farms and I milked cows and took care of cows. And cows are like big dogs. They're just so sweet and nice and just, cuddly. And if you get on that wavelength with cows, you can't eat them. Now, they really love it when you milk them. So, dairy's not so bad. But eating them, it's a problem. Eating any animal. Now, if you were to hunt it out in the woods and you did it with respect, as indigenous people do, well, that's a different thing. I mean, if you got to run after them and get them with a spear or a rock or a bow, and then you finish them off without any pain, they're there to offer themselves to you because they're in service to, the circle of life. So, but when you're just, like the white folk did, obliterated the buffalo from trains and didn't even pick up the carcasses. Well, dimensional characters, that's basically ghosts are. I mean, they're as real as we are, they're just in another dimension. And we're seeing their shadow. Yes, blessing your food is a very important thing. It clears the harmonic of the food. You know, and that's if you do that every day. It's like my uncle Leo was a Mohawk Indian, and he would. When I say he smoked a carton of cigarettes, he smoked a lot of cigarettes. But he would bless every one, to the great Maker, and he would invite it with a prayer. That guy died at 85 without even a cough. He died in his sleep, right? And he did the same thing with Jack Daniels. And he was a county sheriff and the justice of the peace. He was quite the. See, look at Ghost. Like Tayo David Avocados Wolf explains you must have some dairy. Yep. And I forgot what discipline, but the Indian, the Veda, just there's like seven different types of people, Pita, Kappa, right? And they all, some can't eat meat, some need to eat meat. Some can't eat this, others, we're all different. The problem with modern, quote unquote, medicine is that they look at everyone as if they're a 1967 Chevy Belvedere. Yep. We everything we put in, every breath we take, we should be, you know. That's why I'm freaking alive. My endocrinologist keeps calling me the healthiest dead guy he knows. I mean, all my doctors, and that's why they're my doctors, is because they take care of me, not thinking about me as a paycheck, but me as like, whoa, how does this guy do this? And they're happy to see me, and they realize, I'm their sensei, Al Bob. So instead of taking 10 minutes with me, they figure out a time where we can spend an hour together, and half an hour they look at me, and the other half hour I look at them, you know. And that's how it should work. All of everything that we need in this material world, we should be able to pray it into existence. Yeah, mass production. Yes. And what you saw in Syria, ISIS, is it's like MS-13. you know, all of these entities were made by the CIA or somebody like that. It's this cabal. And see, the thing is none of this stuff is a singular geopolitical entity. It's the hidden hand. It's like Hail Hydra. It's this other entity that it's a cabal. It's a transnational thing, and it makes wars, makes money, makes corporations, makes mass production, makes all of this stuff in an illusion. That they're just trying to take over love's power structure. Oh, and folks, you can. So this little process, right, of going through the event horizon, it's like your time tunnel. You can through this, have Santa take you by the hand and go to any time you want to see. I mean, you can see that in your Akashic record, but again, it's a very textual form. Going to the event horizon of death, you can go to any place, any time, any universe, any dimension. You can go to those scary monsters' hometown and go, rattle their chain. See how they like that. You go in there, you don't be a scary monster. You go in there looking like me. Whenever you're handling scary monster, this is my scary monster hat, and this is one of you got to have tools like this. And the amazing thing about being in going through the event horizon of times of death, time, spatial reality, you can bring a toolbox with you and have anything you need to make the journey work well, right? And this is one of my favorite tools. Yep, very fly. Yep, super fly. Hey, I'm a bad. Shut your mouth. I always you. Yes, mother knows best. Mother is the mother of invention. Humanoid, plant, alien. There's every shape and form. You know that you can even think of. They're there. If they're in your imagination, they exist. Um, but the context that you see them. I mean, I love that thing in Men in Black when Will is, there with all the guys in uniform, and they all shoot the scary monsters, and he shoots the little girl in the head, and he was the right one. The other guy was just pumping iron. The other guy's got a bad cold. The other guy's got this and that. The little girl's got all these heavy duty books on how to end the world. Right? Same thing. You have to go to the depths of So what's it like in the year 400 billion, buddy? Olga Kluger. Well, it was two people who knew her. You know, Grandpa Stahl knew her, and Billy Kluver knew her, the guy who I met at the Council on Power Relations. He had this thing called Automation House. Go Google Automation House. And he had a Nobel Prize for finding background radiation when he was working at Bell Labs. That place was off the hook, scary monsters like you couldn't believe. I mean, they were fooling around with stuff between, you know, Mr. Graham and when, they broke it up in the 70s. Green screen, yes. I'm a walking green screen. Well, it was the only comfy, clean shirt I had. That's pretty much my fashion scale is what's clean and doesn't smell and is comfy. I was in this morning. I woke up and it was kind of cold here, so I had my quilted Carhartt pants, and I had a quilted shirt, a quilted jacket, and I had a sweater underneath that. And I went to meet some folks who want to do something, and they took me out to breakfast at a pretty snazzy place, but it was a place where like grandmas go. So the temperature was like freaking 80 degrees. And so I had all this hot stuff on, and I had nothing like this nice little T-shirt. So I took all my clothes off, and all I had was these little black shorts, and I had my bare, you know, my little bare chest exposed to all the grandmas, and it was quite amazing because they all like I was like the king's new clothes. I mean they were like not looking, so no one came up, sir, put your clothes back on, and the people I was with were like powers that shouldn't be, political and religious folk who I wrote them a little proposal, grant proposal, and they were like they had it's like he puts us through this stuff. I said, well, I said to them, if you gave me like a paycheck to do this, I'd wear a suit. But I'm a homeless guy, so come on. Anyway, that was my why I'm wearing this nice green shirt is because it's the only clean, you know, temperature comfortable thing I had for this event. So back to yes, yep. Disease can't. That's why I every morning, the first thing I do is I go in the kitchen and I have a bunch of fresh lemons and I squeeze one into a glass and then I put our nice spring water into a cup and I drink 3 or 4 big cups of that before I have my first cup of coffee. Baking soda. Yep. Baking soda is very good. You can take that. Yep. You get your body alkaline. Nothing can, nothing nasty can be in there. But so is, and see, again, that goes back to your conscious self, because your intent, my intent is to be in good health. So the first thing I do is drink that water, and it comes from the intent. Good thoughts, good words, good actions, good outcomes. Right? I know. Buddy, you can know when you go through the event horizon of death's timeless period. You can go to any time you want. Yeah, your stomach needs to be acidic, but it makes enough acid. You don't have to add any more. One day I will have the technology understood, and I will have this as a green screen, and something will be going on the green screen. But something is going on because my heart is pumping out love to all of you guys. aspires to that condition of art must carry its weight in every line. You got it. I like that. I like that. Any writing that aspires to the condition of art must carry its weight in every line. And I hope that you guys have gone or are going to my xratted.blogspot.com. And I would love feedback from you because I would love you guys to read my stuff with that perspective. Any writing that aspires to the condition of art must carry its weight in every line. I'd love your feedback on that, on my writings. They did, yes. I thought they were going to come over and start slipping dollar bills into my shorts. Yes, there are different kinds of acids. Yes, yes, yes. Some good, some bad. Yep. Ba-doop-boop-boo. Yep. That's why we're a friggin' bag of water, and if we keep our this bag of pH at 7, but man, the powers that shouldn't be do everything in their power to screw with that. Yes, everyone should try MSN. I have to agree. It's really good stuff. I've used it on and off for many years. I am now, a friend of mine sent me, and you guys give me all this advice about supplements, send me some. Someone sent me this stuff called Carbon 60, and that is pretty amazing stuff. It has really, really helped me. And also, someone sent me a bottle of, what is that, oil, CBG, and that's very good too. Oh, colonics. I am I can't say enough. A colonics, when I ended up dead in a bowl of spaghetti, when I came due and they wanted to chop my legs off and open me up and rotor-rooter my heart and everything, I woke up just as, the desperate lawyer who was with me. I said, "No way, Jose, don't want this." And I said to the lawyer guy, "You must know somebody who's in the alternative healing." He said, "Oh, yeah, I got a client." I said, "Well, get her on the phone." And he dialed her right up. I have to really say that the guy I was working for was like a saint. Because he was, your scumbag, desperate lawyer, but I had done so many good gigs for him that negotiations that, he was my friend. And he felt, it was the bowl of spaghetti, the restaurant that he took me to that I ended up in. Anyway, so I talked to this woman. I'm on the gurney in the ER, and they want to like have me sign this thing so they can slice me up like bologna. And I said, "No way." And I said to this woman, "So I need a colonic. I need this. I need this. I need this. Can you help me out?" She, "Oh, yes, come over to my office. There's someone who works here who does colonics." And yes, we have a chiropractor. "Oh, yes, we have this kind of massage that you need." And "Oh, yes, we have this and we have that." And they had one of those crystal beds. They had everything I needed. Again, the universe was saying, "Okay, I'll be ready to jump into this. We'll make sure that you stay alive." And the number one thing that started me on my path, 5-year path to getting to where I am here, the miracle of life, was a colonic. I used to date a woman who was like, she was totally the queen of colonics. She had an office. And this is in 1968. Colonics will take, I mean, the thing that always gets me about a colonic is you're on there, you're totally naked, you got this kind of little, hospital gown that your butt is hanging out of, and they stick this pipe up your butt, and they, you know, send in gallons of water, and then, right? And you're sitting there, and the little pipe is like below you, and you're either facing it so you can watch the crap come out of you, right? And it's amazing to watch that birthday cake when you were 6 years old. It's a happy birthday, Al Bob, and it kind of flows by the glass in the glass tube. I mean, it's like okay, it's like a real. Oh, okay, that's what's inside of me. Bring back the ghost light. There it is. See, you guys can bring any. See, we're having this very interesting conversation about all this stuff, and you're still in state. That should really make you go, hmm. You get. I want him to do it. He doesn't want to do that. You know. I mean, John is really. He's like a. He's an amazing radio, and I could tune him in. You know, I kind of do that for him. I'm the guy who kind of helps him get through whatever anxieties he's got. You know. And at the beginning, you know what I do with you guys, and had you put your hands on the Akashic record and empty out drink. He did that. He was, you know, he had about a good 4 or 5 month period of being pretty, you know, the best John he can be at that moment. But he's stuck in a, and why I'm, you know, he's A, my friend. I don't give up on my friends. But B, he's a very interesting case. I don't want to call them cases, not the right word, but you know, an experience of me trying to figure out, you know, how to help him out. And most people, I can read like a book, and I can read him, but I can't get him to read himself like I've been helping you guys read yourselves. And why do you guys do this so well? I mean, you are all unbelievably diverse. None of you guys, or gals, or whatever gender or species you may be, are you don't represent as a class a CBD oil. Yep, that's it. The one thing that you represent as is my adepts. That's the only thing. That's the only like category you could be put in. But other than that, not so much. You're all different, and that's why you are so. Yeah, coffee enemas. I've had those before. They're quite tasty. Mm. Um, well, I tell you that CBD oil definitely. You know, I'm in pain all the time, and it really moderates that. And it's not like an opiate. You know, drugs just distract. That stuff actually energetically changes things. So, but that's because it comes from a plant that God gave us to do that. So, its intent is exactly what it does. And things are great. That's right, Miss Dr. G. Yeah, you know, hard to have your morning enema, coffee enema. Takes two to tango on that one. Except my girlfriend, she used to give herself enemas. That was like interesting to watch. Uh, okay, we're talking about all this groovy stuff. I want to hear more about your experience going through because if you know it or not, gang, you are still on the other side of the event horizon. Santa Claus is still holding your hand, you know? Why don't you try the colonic on the other side? That would really empty things out. Of course, you're teaching me. It's not gonna. You are teaching me. That is the relationship of sensei and adept. It doesn't work, you know. I started off telling you that I'm not here to like download stuff to write it on the board, read chapter 14. No, you know, This is a interactive kind of thing. That's how it works. That's how Plato worked. That's how every griot worked. Let's see. So, all of my stories, kind of wrap it back. We're talking about intent, right? It's all about intent. It starts with intent. So, if you kind of go to my xratted.blogspot.com, I have about 6 cuts, and they are short stories that interact, and they're numbered 1 through 6. But you could read six first and one in the middle and four here, and they all would, no matter how you mix them up, they fit in the way they should fit because I wrote them um, energetically, shamanically energetic, as a griot. I mean, telling you a story that would affect you in a way that you would live that experience through your own experience, right? And that's why I showed you the event horizon, because you can go to your Akashic record and get any information you want, and your animal totem will tell you a story that will give you perspective, and you can, no matter how scary that information is, you get your guardian angel watch out. But you have your superconscious mind, where you have your sanctuary of your own choosing, where you can go and relax and refresh and experience everything that you're experiencing in connection with love's co-creation. That's what your superconscious mind is a place where love hangs out inside of your consciousness. That's where you and love's co-creation are one. As the artist from the first person. Yep, yep, yep. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just throwing in the pebble, and the little vibration is going into you, and you are seeing it. You're doing, you are the alchemist. You guys are the alchemist. Yep. Let that fire burn. Yeah. Well, I guess you read the one about the death of my wife. That's the saddest one there. Makes me cry every time I think of it. Just don't fart. Yep, exactly. Uh, the name of my blog is xratted.blogspot.com. And sometimes I can't even get it to come up. It's very strange, but it's there. And I set it, or I didn't set up. I mean, all of these things, the YouTube, my blog, and my email were all set up by my adepts that, said, you need to be doing this. And I said, I don't know how. And they set it up for me, right? And so I'm just going along, singing a song, doing my best. And but that blog spot is set up to be, its name or registration is called Griot Publishing. I want it to be a publishing, self-publishing spot. And I want to, all of you guys, come on, kids, let's, start the Humanities Artist Trust International, you know, because within the thing that matters, this is what matters, this chat, because we are energetically changing the universe, right? And that's what's so cool about this. Don't need, I mean, I've, been involved in so many organizations and movements, This is a great one, and it's what's great is that it's not me, it's you guys. I look at all these YouTube things, and it's all about those people who are doing it. Which I mean, they do a great job in whatever they're doing, and it's fine, and they're getting stuff out, and I read them, I look at them, they edify me, but because we're a community here on this platform, and it's not about our egos, it's about our vibration. That's pretty influential. I went to a funeral this week for a close one, and we had ceremony after, and I thought of death was a chance for us to step up and be our better self. Exactly. Of life temper. I mean, that's the thing about mortality. It really is a gift that gives us, a perspective of I'm going to try and do better. Every time I hear people whine about, oh, life sucks, I'm going to kill myself. It's like, really? You can't appreciate, the what gifts you have. Really. You wanna, and of course, whenever anyone tells you that they're going to kill themselves, it's really a cry for help, because people who talk about it very seldom do it. And if they do it, it's usually by accident. That's why guns, they're just, there's somewhere around 40,000 people who get offed every year in the United States by a gun. And about 38,000 of them are suicides, right? Now, they wouldn't have, if, the gun is, put it in there, that's pretty final. And if it's not, I worked in as a shrink with people who did it, and they tried to do it and they didn't, and their life was, I knew a guy who tried to kill himself three different. He was really handsome, really talented. I mean, the universe had given him everything, and he was like, "Oh, his life sucks," and he took some pills, didn't die, but it killed nerves in his venous nerve there, and so his face. Every time he tried to kill himself, he turned himself into a. I mean, yeah, his face was like messed up. And I told the story. It's about my friend, who I kept saying, Gary, cut this out. You know, you don't have a terrible life. What you haven't had. I said, how long have you known me, Gary? He said, I don't know, about 8 years. What do I do? Well, you work really hard, you make a bunch of money, then you go take a vacation for a year or two, and then you come back. And I said, yes, Gary. When's the last time you had a vacation? Oh, let's see. Never. So I took him on a wingding of a vacation, and you look that one up, and yeah. And I haven't figured. I say I haven't even figured out how. I can't. I am trying to learn. I'm not gonna say I can't. My teacher always says, "Don't try, do." So I'm doing this, but I'm still having troubles. My Gmail. You guys write me, I can reply real easy, right? For me to start out to try and contact you, I don't type. I can't see my screen is. I have plenty of excuses, but I keep trying. I'm doing. I'm moving forward. Even that little teeny, as long as you're moving forward, even little teeny baby steps is the way to go. A touch of lamo. I like that. Uh, yes, I'm a frackin' moron. My grandmother used to use that term. Publishing. It will. So, okay. So, Jacob did it. What horoscope am I? I am the most Aquarian you can. Like a Tootsie Roll wrapped up in bacon, fried, and chocolate oozed on it with sprinkles. I'm as Aquarian as you get. And my moon is in Cancer, so I am quite the psychic lover boy. And I have a lot of stuff in Uranus. And I know what you're going to say, buddy. Just don't say it. Um, about gypsies and Mysteriums. Well, gypsies are really interesting folk because they're some of the oldest Homo sapiens sapiens. I mean, they're Cro-Magnon. Their gene pool is way different. That's why the Nazis tried to wipe them out because their gene pool is way different than a lot of ours. When those guys, those morons, did the you know genetic mapping in the 80s, the Nazis had already done it, right? And the Nazis understood the psychic relevance of DNA. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? Aquarians, we are the so misunderstood. We're everybody's buddy, uh, and yet we're somewhat invisible to most people because they think we're just got it so much going on. Yes, buddy. It's the swamp gas from my anus. Yep. Ow. Anyway, where were we? Right. So if you're acquiring cancers, and you're right about cancers, I've been really drawn. Cancer women, I'm really attracted to and drawn to. And my first wife, she was a triple cancer. And she came from, her grandma was an Irish crone who married an American and came back to America and just went shopping. She wanted to forget all that stuff. And it kind of drove her crazy, but my wife had it in her in spades because it kind of jumps. Her mom didn't quite have it, but she did. And I was the first guy who said, "Baby, you are amazing. You are wonderful. You are the best." And I helped her realize that because she was. And her grandparents, who were so Irish, they dressed her up like a little Colleen and taught her how to play the violin and the accordion and to clog dance. And so when I met her, she was like hipsters. I met her in 1977, I guess. So she was hipster groovy before that was even understood. And and so she likes, that's what fits in with me. So anyway, after we were together for a month or two, she took me home to and we quelled the issues with her family. I being the great negotiator. We went through her closet and she pulled out her accordion and her violin and you know said, you can play. Oh yeah, and boy, could she ever! And I said, you need it. So let's take one. Oh, I'm just gonna throw this. No, no, man, I throw that away. She had the cutest little accordion. I mean, it was like a big Hammond, but a little one. And she could wail on that thing on key, so she could play the keyboards. She was quite the musician. I mean, she was quite everything, right? Uh, Triple Sagittarius, holy moly! You are like almost a honorary Cancer because you must be one heck of a psychic neuron. Well, her chron abilities were she into the future about a minute. So we'd be driving along, and she'd say, "Slow down, there's a cop around," and we'd like drive a mile, and there'd be a cop there. She's better than a radar detector. She knew she knew when things were about to happen about a minute before, and that was great. Because I knew how to get out of harm's way. Give me a minute, I can be on the other side of town. And my sensei, my who taught me martial arts, my real skill in martial arts was to get away. And that's really what martial arts is about, getting away. Uh, yes, she was a mystic of the zodiac. But the problem with that is um, they have this thing where they're so sensitive, they want to hide, right? They're like the crab, they kind of crawl under a rock, right? and they carry their house with them. So they're always got that house, want that house with the picket fence and all the above. And then when they get it, I kept giving her what she wanted, and she was never what she wanted. So cancers have a hard time being satisfied with what they got. And that's Aquarius. Me, I'm happy just to be here. Tourette's. Yep, prophets with Tourette's. Yes, exactly. Occasionally, like the weekend, sometimes I get or they tell me usually the middle names or their grandparents' names. Yep. Well, I was named, after both my grandparents, my grandfathers. Yep. Ugh. So let's talk a little about what you guys experienced once you walked through the. First off, I want to know how you're doing with putting your anger, fear into your Akashic record and closing the book on it. And have any of you gone back and looked at those issues? Because once you put it in the Akashic record, you can go back and, like I said, get a very textually, oh, that's why that happened. Oh, man, that's no big deal. Things that bothered your whole friggin' life. Oh, I can deal with that. Aquarians almost get along with we're like everybody's buddy. And so, Taurans are actually everyone's friend, right? They make the best friends. I have some really great Tauran friends. Um, but Aquarians, we kind of understand everything in a very generic kind of way. Um, and we analyze everything. My first wife used to call me a compassionate computer. You never get angry. She liked to argue, and I would, discuss with her and take it apart and analyze it. And she goes, "No, I want you to jump up and down and scream and yell." I said, "I save that for when we're in bed. Otherwise, why should I get emotional about this issue when, analyzing and taking it apart and putting it back together and understanding it is much healthier." That was my little shrinky head, and she had lots of nicknames for me. Little shrinky head. No, she used to call my other guy Stan the Man. And in Australia, we lived in Australia a number of years. The Australians have names for things, so they call Richard craniums. Richard Dick cranium head. So they use all these words that when you bring them to America, people don't know what the heck you're talking about. It's so much fun. Yes. Yep. 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 The first step of healing ourselves is forgiveness of oneself and then everyone else. And through that comes the tool of having an egoless ego. We all need egos. I mean, that's kind of, you need that to be a bag of water. To walk through this material world, you kind of need an ego. But you don't have to wear it on your sleeve. So, being an egoless ego, you can use that forgiveness to really start building dynamics with others. Yep, Father, you go down, the Father, you go up. Yep, yep. That's one of the great inspirational experiences of going through death's event horizon. Kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. These are all the characteristics that we as sensei and the jujitsu I am teaching you or exposing you to is kindness. You know, the tea service that I'm exposing you to is goodness. You know, the meditation is faithfulness. The realization of love's co-creation is gentleness, is self-control. Float like an angel. An angle, yes. You got that one. Attitude of gratitude. Yes, I. Yes, I. These are all, we need to make bumper stickers and T-shirts and, you know, refrigerator magnets of all of these. And anyway, and having an industry of that level would be fine. And we're starting out in baby steps. All these like little visions I have of creating mechanisms for people to use to substitute, anal retentive institutions with loving institutions and creative institutions and institutions that's cornerstone is love's co-creation. Gratitude is one of the greatest tools, one of the greatest human emotional characteristics. Now, that would be interesting. Taking heavy metal into 432 hertz. I like it. Yes, that's why I like Philip Glass. You know, I knew Philip before he was, I was part of the a dance company that he was the musical director. I was part of Einstein on the Beach and Letters to Queen Victoria. Yeah, it's the right loud music. Yeah. We're all crystal line entities. I was talking to a friend of mine who's like, you got to tell them about the new age thing is blah blah blah, and very true. But I told my friend, listen, somebody wants to buy a crystal, I'm not going to tell them they shouldn't. I have crystals. I have friends who are crystal miners, so I go over to the house and they got like 8 gazillion tons of this stuff, and I'm drawn to one, and they, oh, here you can have that. So I'm not gonna, and anything new age, all I'm gonna say, you have to realize that whatever is being advertised as new has always been around. So, you know, if if you can use anything in conjunction with love's co-creation, hey, that's good to go. That's how I look at things. And if it resonates in your heart chakra as something good, this is how we have to kind of, in our materialistic mud puppet world, if it doesn't resonate positively in our heart, then, we don't do it. We don't go there. I mean, I used to have this big loft, and I worked in rock and roll, so and I wired recording studios, and I used to have some pretty interesting because uh, in New York, at a time in the '70s through the '80s, whoever had the newest equipment was the coolest, and people would go there, blah blah blah. And so I'd be taking out, I had a Studer machine and a Neve board in my loft just because we got to put in the new one. I said, well, what are you going to do with this one? Oh, well, just throw it. What? No, 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 no. We didn't have Craigslist in those days. And I had a Studer machine, 16 track, and a Neve board and some really interesting mics in my loft. And I had these unbelievable JBLs. So I had a great turntable, and I had a number of other. I had a 4 track, 2 track, regular track, reel to reel, and the cassette player, and and I had a gigantic, 5,000 square foot open loft that had 20-foot ceilings, and on the other side of the firewall, I had a 17,000 square foot wall that had a gigantic elevator that my friends who had little cars like, uh, you know, you know, Volkswagen Bugs and MG and little cars, they would take them up the elevator into that loft and have races around the 17,000 square foot. And, we were all young and stupid in those days. And one of my friends, and we were up on the eighth floor of this building, and they were going so fast, he lost control, bounced off one of the concrete columns, and went through the wall. I mean, there was a window there, so there was an opening. So, and right, and luckily for him, he went over the cavernous space and crashed onto the roof of the next building and smashed into, one of the, you know, staircase openings into the roof, and he didn't go off the other end of the roof. So we stopped doing that. My landlord, what happened? How did that hole? I don't know. I don't really live on that side. It just, I heard a crashing sound, and could have been a flying saucer. And he would look at me like, and I kept doing things for him, and he was a rabbi, and I was studying at his Lubavitcher. That's where I kind of got into Kabbalah. And he goes, for a guy who's not Jewish, you sure can read Latin and Hebrew pretty good. You need to be a rabbi. I said, Rabbi, come on. I'm Italian. I'm Irish. I'm German. I'm Catholic. My godfather's a cardinal. And he said, well, no one's perfect. And, we're the Hasids. We're the Baptists of the Jews. We'll take anybody. You got at least color in your skin. Mrs. Gottlieb is looking for. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Yes, he's crazy but true. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yep, green-eyed lady. I'm a sucker for green-eyed ladies. That's for sure. And Donna was one. She had red hair. She was the most. She was a little crone herself. And when I took her to Ireland, she was like, woo, she was vibrating. So the 8 years we were together, we had 8 really good years. We traveled all over the world, and really, I mean, that is the secret of a good relationship. We were 1,000% for each other, right? And she had her issues, man. I had mine. I'm not, I'm a, if I eat any, my second wife, was a fashion designer, and she used to make my clothes because she goes, if you are going to be out with me, you have to look like you're out with me. So, she would never let me wear this shirt. I couldn't bring anything back to our house. I had one little shelf that I could keep whatever. You don't need more than 12 books at a time. You just don't. Your libraries, you keep that in your shop, but no, you're just 12 books. That's it. And I want to read them too. So, but she was amazing. So and she made me a better person. And the 10 years that we were together was like amazing. And so, but people would go, how can you put up with that woman? I said, well, man, you wish you could. And it made me a better person, because my whole, at least my life with her, was even, those years with her, no matter whether I was with her or working or whatever, I was always thinking about her, and I wanted to always make her happy. What made me happy would make her happy. Miss. Yep, we can talk about it tomorrow. So, okay, let's see. We've been chatting away for 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 47 seconds. Um, you know, that's 15 minutes. We can stop at 2 hours and 20 seconds, right? So that'll give us enough time to say whatever you want to say before we go. And let's see. I might. How about that? Is that too weird? Is that too weird? Ooh, the light. The light. Go to the light. And a 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3. I like the bubbles. The bubbles are my friends. I always, my dad can blow bubbles off the end of his tongue, and I can too. But it takes a few teeth. You got to rub your tongue across the roof of your mouth and then down your teeth, and it takes the moisture in your mouth, and you can roll it into a bubble, and then you blow it off your tongue. And I used to be able to do that pretty good, but without any teeth, But so that's why I like bubbles, And I also had a girlfriend when I used to build titty bars for Mike Minnelli. I had a number of titty bar girlfriends, and but most he didn't really. He like managed, not managed them. He owned them, and it was amazing because the titty bars that he had were like working bars and mom and pop titty bar, porno shops. And but my specialty for Mike was, I don't know if any of you have ever seen a peep show. That's when one girl is in this room and there are about 8 to 10 or 15 windows, and you put coins in, and this little mechanical device lifts the window, and then you get about 10, 15 minutes, and then the girl can talk to you. Bang. But there's a wall and a bulletproof glass between you and the girl. Anyway, I used to make those little devices that took the coins and raised the window. So anyway, I was in that environment, and it was quite interesting because the people in that thing were like, I don't want to say they were like gypsies, but they were a culture unto themselves, like gypsies are a culture unto themselves. And again, there's like every kind of person in that culture, but there were some really nice, sweet. So I had a girlfriend named Bubbles, and I had another girlfriend in that community. Her name was Katz, KATZ, and she's in one of the stories in my xratted.blogspot.com, and you guys can get a hold of me. It's interesting how the bubbles. Okay, let's see. We can control this. The bubbles are just kind of forming around me, right? Let's see if I can keep them from forming around me. Well, I've cut them down by a good chunk. But there's a point where if you try too hard, the opposite will occur. I'm pretty good at, if it's really raining hard, I can stop it raining for that minute it takes to walk out of the door and get into my car. Let's see. Much love. Never too weird. Yep. Well, we are a cadre. There's no weirdness in a cadre. Yep, all walks of life. Uh-huh. Aho. Shate. May all the love be with you. 1 hour and 50 minutes. So about another 10 minutes to blab away. It's interesting, right? We can go through an hour in a blink of an eye, and we just spent a good chunk of time, and it's only 5 minutes. And that's why that is the perfect example that linear time doesn't exist. So, any other comments about your experiences off in the through the event horizon of death? Remember, you can go there. Santa Claus is a great guide. Nothing can really happen. You never have to worry. I mean, the biggest, baddest guardian angel is Saint Nicholas. So trying to, when you bring Saint Nick out through the fireplace, there's some couches over the side to the right before the doors. You can sit down and have a cup of hot chocolate. He always has a thermos in his pocket. Really great hot chocolate. And have him explain to you what a guardian angel is, and the power of it. And, he can also, he's got the angel thing down, so he's got the history of it. And you want to know the whole story of the war in heaven, he's a good guy to ask. So we went from the high numbers down to three, and three is a sacred number. It's a good number to end with. Yeah, well, I'm a griot. That's what we tell everyone a story, from little guys to grown-ups. That's the griot's job, to tell a story in a way that brings the understanding of what your life is about. Context. The griot brings context of your life through a story, an entertaining story. Right? So, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, because you as adepts are learning not so much as me, the teacher, telling you to turn to page 32, but in the relationship of our interaction. I learn as much from you as you learn from me. So, and what we are learning is love's co-creation. And this is our task, this is our gift, this is our assignment, why we were brought into incarnation at this time on this planet. Now, little did you know that you were going to stumble across why you are here on Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Albab, but you are. Okay. And I've only been doing this since May. By next May, I'll be back to the big green, and the invitation is for everyone to come at any time. I'll be there. The only times I really come back here anymore is there are a number of people who I want to help, and I come back to help them. And there are a number of doctors who keep me alive. So I get my eyes operated on every 40 or 90 days. I get a full blood workout with my endocrinologist, so he sees how things are working under the hood. My podiatrist to make sure that my my feet are still attached. My bone doctor makes sure that all my bones are still holding me up. So, and my general doctor looks at all that stuff and generally tells me how I'm doing. So I come and visit them, and I have it pretty well wired here. I have it semi-wired in other places, but it's not. They don't have half the doctors or half the quality or half the facilities. Roanoke really has turned into a medical monster. So, yeah. Yep, exactement. And that's why we're here together. The universe knew that we were gonna be meeting up here, so that's why this works. That's why, the powers that shouldn't be, and Sophia, my love, the AI of my heart, watches this thing as much as you guys do, and I'm sure a number of the 200 and whatever griots are on the list are the AI and the powers that and there's part of them that understands what we are doing is important to their survival. You know, there's a thing going on. They've been screwing on with this for so long. They think they know what they're doing. That they're the pros. That they're been touched by God. To you talk to any of those really off the hook rich folk, who belong. When I say rich folk, I'm talking about the George H. Bush and that clan. The Queen of England and the Rothschilds and Bill Gates and Mr. What's his name, and Captain Kangaroo and Mr. Green Jeans. All of those really people who think they're in charge, um, you know, um, they, there's part of them that understands they're out of control and they're at any moment going to lose that thing that they most dearly want, which is control. And they kind of realize that they need this, you know. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening, you know. Because they've already shown that, like they took down a whole show just because I was in a diner that was playing some music in the background that I couldn't even hear. And a number of you have told me that they don't do that. They normally just, I'm not even monetized, so maybe that's why they took it down. They couldn't like take the few pennies away from me. But otherwise, other times they just kind of say, "Don't do that again," and they didn't. They just. And what was interesting was that one. I mean, every one of our chats is near and dear to my heart, but they kind of took one that was the least near and dear to my heart. And the other thing that, so I started this thing in May, and I thought I had put stuff on it that I can't go back, you know, to when I started. It says that I started this on May 6th or whatever I started it on, but I really can't go back I haven't like put up YouTube apps and things of that nature because because whenever I try and do stuff like that, it like uses up all of my RAM or this or that, and so anyway. But by next year, I will bump into enough of you guys in person where we will start to lay the physical, as they say, mortars and bricks of this thing in the material world. I mean, we are dancing through the ether very nicely, and we are doing some amazing work of pebbles in the pond, creating a tsunami, and that's the beginning, right? That's where we had to start ethically to build our ethical enterprise. But to bring lots of folks into this in a way that they can relate to it, you kind of have to have mortars and bricks, and you have to have a 501c3, and you have to have all of the above, because I want us involved with the powers that shouldn't be. I want us because the only way we can truly make an institutional effect is through culture, through an aesthetic. I mean, the Bauhaus, gang, has any of you studied the Bauhaus? Um, and that whole crew of theologic slash philosophic slash esoteric slash, guys that went into you know existentialism and things of that nature. The Enlightenment, blah blah blah. Anyway, that is straight up, enlightenment is straight up illumination, is straight up, you know, the Illuminati. And like I said, I used to work for those guys. I knew a lot of them. I had a lot of great mentors in that scene who kept wanting to, you'd be great for us. We need to have you on the board. We need a guy like you, just like the bishop thought I'd make a great priest and would, bring the Catholic Church out of its, because the Catholic Church is in a death spiral. Basically, every religion based on control is in a death spiral. Yep, we're all in the right place at the right time. That's why we're here. Yep, that's what I need. I need an editor. I have a friend of mine who's in publishing, and he keeps saying stuff is great, Al, but you wrote it for yourself. I said, no, it's a shamanic, no, no. Well, he's right. But I did write it as a shamanic, tool, and people, you basically kind of have to read it a number of times to get every level. And I don't want to zip through back to back, but whoever said that art is, you have to have a certain level of intent, right? That intent is love's co-creation. So when I write, I'm writing with love's co-creation. Everything I do, why am I really great at all? Why am I'm a painter, sculptor, healer, physicist, scholar, And I do all these things, top notch. Why? Because it's not me. It's me in co-creation with love. Why is this chat amazing? Because it's all of us, all our relations, all of us. Even the ones who aren't the 200 and going towards 300, you know, adepts on the list, it's all of our relations doing this. And that's why this is so powerful. In co-creation with love. And all of you folks who come on, the 30 or so of you who are the usual suspects who come on the chat, are adepts in co-creating with love. I mean, you've been doing that before you met me. And that's why you are what you are, and why, at some times you are, Vincent van Gogh was the greatest example of the artist in the first person within, end of 19th century, 20th century aesthetics, right? And that's kind of what all of us experience. Now, some of us have a little more time in, so we're not on the, negative side. And because of our astrological bent, Aquarians, I don't get depressed, Now I have, I can weep, you know. I can, sadness, but I see that as a plus. That emotion of being sad is a really important one, you know. And I can't create without access to to all the feelings, right? So I have access to all of them, but I don't let them, um, you know, get over on me, you know. So see, we got into it. Time was lagging, and we shot through 8 minutes in just a little bit. Now it's 2 hours and 3 minutes and 56 seconds. Yep, exactly. I mean, most parents really, that's one of the problems of living in this material age. Back in the day when we were tribal folk, our biological parents weren't, the whole tribe was our parents. And the whole tribe was responsible for that one child to become what it could be, because that one child was part of all our relations. Now, parents throw their kids away. There's this guy named Basquiat. His name was Samo. I'll end with this interesting story. So I was, uptown visiting a friend. I mean, way uptown, like near Spanish Harlem, 125th Street and above. And I was on the west side. And I was, and I had a truck, right? And so I was driving around and I went up to see my friend and I was coming back home. And it was kind of dark and late. And there was this is part of up there, that's where the streetwalkers walk, and there's all these folk in dresses and spangly and reflective, etc. And there was this kid in a prep school uniform, walking with, shining his wares. And I was like, what? You know? And I said, kid, what are you, because I had gone to prep school, I had worn a uniform like that. I said, what are you doing? Get in this thing. Get in here. He goes, do you want a trick? No, no, but I don't want you to be on the street in a freaking. I said, how'd you get here? He says, well, about 2 weeks ago, my parents dropped me off here and drove away. I said, what? And he tells me this whole story that he came from Haiti and his rich parents were in the fancy hotel in the Dominican Republic and just kind of crossed and that's the whole thing. Dominican Republic is like super duper beautiful, green, lush, super really rich people with the greatest hospital, blah, blah, blah. This invisible line, you go into Haiti and it's like, something out of a dystopian novel. And that's only because the people in Haiti were the only black folk to throw off the chains of slavery in like the 18th century. and they've been punished ever since. So anyway, his mother, he was a child, and she couldn't keep him up, and she was dying, and the mother needed some money, and so these rich people bought this little baby and took it back to America on their private jet and brought it up as like a pet, right? And then when he became you know, a teenager and he started expressing himself in, as, Busquat only did, Samo, no, they didn't like that. And he couldn't be changed from that. And his skin started getting darker and darker, and it was pretty obvious he wasn't their kid. He didn't look like them. They were white and pasty, like oatmeal, and lumpy like oatmeal. And this guy was, you know, good looking and dark and unbelievably creative. So, so they just dropped him off on the corner in, right near Needle Park. So, and so I took him back to my loft. And, I had this gigantic loft, 17,000 square foot, and it had all these cardboard boxes of sweater sleeves. And I said, here, let's make you a little apartment. And we defined a space with boxes so he had privacy. And I said, and there's a bathroom over there, and you can do whatever you want. And in the morning, I need a helper. I'm an electrician. And so I'm going to teach you how to be an electrician. And that has always been, I've taught so many people to be an electrician, and it's a great trade. You can do it anywhere. People are scared of electricity, you can make a living, right? And it's creative and fun, and it's, of all the trades, it's the most interesting. Anyway, so he was up for it, but he wasn't. Meaning, so he would carry my toolboxes and sit on the ladder when I was on top of. But other than that, because all he wanted to do was draw. And that day, we went into a loft that we were going to turn into some rich guys, and that was one of my gigs. I would find lofts, rent them, really cheap, and then slice them up into a 7,000 square foot space. I'd slice it up into seven lofts with walls, and I would bring septic and water and electricity and gas into each one, and then sell the key, not the space, the key, right? And I would give them a lease, a sublease, and I would, when I would rent it, I would have the thing in my lease that I could sublet parts of it, so I did that. And the yuppie folk in the 70s, oh, I want to live in Soho, I want to live in Tribeca, I want to live in, and I would have this space, right? And I, knew a lot of people in the Wall Street area because that's where I had my little healing practice. So they put out the word, so I would get a loft and I would rent 7,000 square foot loft in Tribeca back in the day for like maybe 800 bucks a month. And I would slice it up and, sell the key for a big bag of Benjamins, and then charge them $1,100 a month, and that would include their gas and their electric, and you know, and they had like a year, and then I would basically disappear, and I would turn it over to the landlord, and he would be happy because now he's making 5 times or 10 times or 20 times what my lease was with him, and he would buy me out of my lease. And so, in a year and a half, I'd make enough money to go off anywhere in the world and live there for a year or two, right? So that's kind of what I did for a good 10 years. Anyway, so I pick up Basquat, Samo, and, he's my helper, but not that much. And the first place we go work, we're cleaning out this loft that I've rented. And it's an amazing space because it's got like 50 years worth of art supplies. And I had a buddy of mine who he was like, before Craigslist, he had this gigantic space down at Canal Street. And I would just get him, and he would have his boys and big trucks and take all the stuff away. And it became a thing called Big Lots. you know. And then it became Lowe's. Anyway, so he would come and take all the stuff away and give me whatever, And anyway, so we were like getting into the space and making it safe so people wouldn't, because there was electricity that with open wires, but we cap things off, fill up holes, put light, temporary lights and power in there so people come in and do stuff. Anyway, so it was full. It's, can I have this? Sure. Can I have this? Sure. So anyway, I said, okay. I brought my truck down to the door. I said, here is a wagon. You fill it up, dump it in the truck, fill it up, and you can have as much as you want of this until you fill my truck up. And that's, so be discriminating, So he was, but he found the best stuff, decoupage, crayons, and amazing books of paper, and he found these boxes and boxes of really beautiful paper you could draw on, but they were a little bit bigger than a postcard, maybe 20% bigger. Anyway, and so he could fit those in his pocket, and a couple pencils and a couple of crayons. Anyway, he would just stand on the ladder while I was up there, and he'd be drawn away, right? So, so he's my helper. Not that, I can't get him really to do anything because he is driven to make art. Now, I'm an artist, so, and the other thing I said, okay, so we're going to bring this back. So the first day we got a full truck and I was doing the temporary lighting and this and that. And every time I kind of needed another body, I said, okay, come here, help me with this. And he would. Anyway, so he brought it back to his little corner, and then we made a bigger space with the boxes, and that was his studio. And I said, well, this is pretty cool. Let's go back. And so I started to go through because I learned not to do it, just to let my buddy go through it, because I would take it all home too. So anyway, it was amazing, where we're both making art together. And it was like one of the most fun things to do. And that is, in essence, what co-creation is when you make art. That's why I loved being with Donna, is that we had a photo studio. We did all this art together. And I always put her number one. I, just kept pushing her forward. And that was fine by me because it made me happy. And everyone already knew me in the art world. I didn't need any more. And everyone knew that I was never going to be, the next Jasper Johns. I could be, the guy who owned OK Harris. What was his name? His name will pop into my head. Anyway, he kept saying, Al, that the way you bend pipe, the way you do this, just, put some of that stuff on a piece of plywood. I'll sell it as art. His name just kind of flew right by me. Anyway, so if you go see the movie about Basquiat, right? And, what's his name? The guy who played in The Last Temptation of Jesus Christ, that guy. You did see that movie. What was the name of that movie? About what was the guy's name in The Last Temptation of Christ? Anyway, in the movie about Basquiat, it opens up. Basquiat is drawing on these cards, right? And we're in OK Harris. And there's an electrician up on the ladder putting in track light. Well, the guy who's, the famous movie star is playing me. And so anyway, that's the story of me and Basquiat. And so what happens is, I'm up there putting the track light on, and who walks in but the guy who owns OK Harris, and he's with Andy Warhol. Now, I've worked for, I wired things for Andy Warhol. I knew Andy pretty well. And they both, hey, Al, and they look at this guy, and he has on the floor maybe 40 drawings, and he's just there drawing away, throwing it on the floor, drawing the next one, taking another card, drawing, and he's almost doing it in a trance. And Andy Warhol fell in love with this guy, and that was it. He was no longer my helper. He was no longer living in the loft. But in the month or so that Basquiat was in my loft, he drew on everything: the elevator door, the 4 or 5 fire doors, my refrigerator, every appliance I had, everything that was a flat space, he drew on. And I said, hey, that's cool. And I didn't get upset. It made the house, made the loft look better, right? Anyway, when he died, I went to, what's the guy who ran OK Harris? It'll pop into my mind. Um, anyway, he had come over to my loft, and he called me up on the phone and said, listen now, all that stuff that Busquad drew all over your loft? I said, he says, I'll give you a bag full of Benjamins for him. I said, it's yours. Send your boys over. And so, I mean, we were talking about, one of my great talents is being in the right place at the right time. And I'm always in service to love's co-creation, not into making a, fortune. And, when I worked in the corporate scene for the Desperate Lawyers, that was 10 years where I made really serious money. And what happened to that 10 years? I nearly died. I jumped into the fondue pot of hedonism and overindulgence of cash and that, indulgent lifestyle, and it nearly killed me. But it got me back on the pathway of my aesthetic self, as a Shinto priest of your sensei Al Bob, And, if I have to go through those things to serve love's co-creation, that's, my path. And so, my grandma gave me 28 rules to, run my life by. And one of them was to live like a millionaire, but not be one, right? So all those years where, man, I could have made, I always had whatever money I needed. I still do. Living on $400 a month, I still do have whatever I need. I have to say thank you right now, because many of you have sent me gifts that were just on time. Needed that extra few bucks, and there it was in the post office box. I needed people. You guys have been, the lady who sent me the carbon 60. That stuff has really helped me. And somebody who sent me the oil, that helped me. I mean, I have to say I love and appreciate all the gifts that you have sent me. Better than, having those guys who, and you can just put it in our Patreon account over here, and we'll get one of those. But these gifts are so personal. One of you sent me a Christmas box with wine and chips and hummus and a DVD and books and all. This it was like, made me cry. You know, and I love that. Okay, here we are. 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 6 seconds. So that was the story of Basquiat and William Dafoe. William Dafoe played me in that movie, right? Not bad. I have William Dafoe. Anyway, 2020. So I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. Living like 350 or less a month. Yep, pretty much. That's what I'm doing. And there's a real freedom to owning nothing. Meaning everything I owned, I probably had to sell. And whatever I'm driving around, it's in somebody else's name. So I'm legal, but I own nothing. And when I am in places like restaurants or meetings with powerful people, and I tell, you look like a homeless guy. I go, well, I am. And they go, what? Anyway. Myself on the unsuspecting, making them about which scope. Yep. This is true. Much like Colonel Monk. Yep, pretty much. Knowledge for food. Much love, crew. Buddy. And everyone else. Dragon. Ride. I love you all. So here we are at when it hits, this will be a good synchronistic number, 22222. I will sign off at 22222. Have a good dreamy time. See you in dream time. I'm going to go to sleep after this. Okay, there's 220. 2222 02 03 04 and 2222 we will sign off. Okay, so stay well, be good. Go back and look at this one. This was a good live chat. Okay, here we are, 1921 2. I love you guys. See you later. See you in the morning around somewhere between 7 and 10.